Kelli's Acoustic Crossroads is brought to you by the Team One Automotive Group, Riverview Regional Medical Center, and Family Savings Credit Union. Now, here's Kelli Johnson.
Welcome to Kelli's Acoustic Crossroads. I'm your host, Kelli Johnson. We've got a special treat for you today. Carl Brady, our executive producer and director here at Kelli's Acoustic Crossroads, is going to be our musical guest today, so we're looking forward to that. First, I'm going to start us off with an original song by a really good friend of mine, Miss Lindsay Hinkle. Y'all make sure you check out her website, lindsayhinklemusic.com, and this is her song, Carry On.
Well, I'm lifeless, but I'm not dead. I got a new kind of song screaming in my head. There's some crazy people after me, and it's a shame. Makes a girl wanna dye her hair and change her name. It's been 10 long years and it's not fair. What does a girl gotta do to get somewhere? What is a girl gotta do to be somebody, yeah? What is a girl gotta do to be somebody, Well, the Lord gave me broad shoulders so I would carry on. Since the dawn of creation, everybody's had a dream, whether to live in the biggest cave or float the longest stream. I played from Minnesota to the Gulf of Mexico. I'm still planting seeds, I'm still hoeing rose stalks. What is a girl gotta do to be somebody, yeah? What is a girl gotta do to be somebody, Well, the Lord gave me broad shoulders so I would carry on. Carry What is a girl gotta do to be somebody, yeah? What is a girl gotta do to be somebody, Well, the Lord gave me broad shoulders so I would carry on.
And that's Carry On by Miss Lindsay Hinkle. Y'all make sure you check her out at lindsayhinklemusic.com. Check out kacrossroads.com for info on our guest and how to become a guest. And we'll be right back with Carl Brady. Welcome back to Kelli's Acoustic Crossroads. Right now we're going to hear from Carl Brady doing his original song, Just One More Time.
I was just a young boy when I first heard him play. He picked up his old guitar and sang to me about an uncloudy day. The songs he sang were timeless, unlike him they never grow old. But in my mind I go back in time, what a sight to behold. Just one more time, sing Silverhead Daddy, nobody's darling but mine. So many memories were made when you played. I could have listened all night and all day to the sweet, sweet sounds that you made. Fireflies would flicker to the beat he kept with his feet. up your old guitar just one more time. Sing Silver-Haired Daddy and nobody's darling but mine. So many memories were made when you played. I could have listened all night and all day to the sweet, sweet sounds that you made. So many memories were made when you played for so many people along the way. We love the sweet, sweet sounds that you made. So many memories were made when you played for so many people along the way. We love the sweet, sweet sounds that you made.
And that was Carl Brady with his original song, Just One More Time. Carl, it's great to have you here on this side of the camera.
It's a little odd being on this side of the camera, yeah.
But you're pretty used to being in front of the camera. You have East Alabama Today.
Right,
Everybody
right.
knows Carl Brady from the news. You know, you've been a focal, a very familiar face in Gadsden and all of East Alabama for a long time. But there's also this other side to Carl Brady that a lot of people may not know about. So
Yeah, the music side.
Yeah.
I started singing a long time ago and singing and playing and that kind of thing, and then I gave it up for a while. And just recently, I've been, had the urge to start doing it again.
yeah, and it's kind of like riding a bike. You never really forget it. It's always kind of there.
You do get rusty, as you could, as you'll be able to tell. I may have to look down at my words every once in a while on my songs.
well,
I'm not, still haven't got the total recall back of being able to play and sing and remember all at the same time.
But your life has pretty much been immersed in music from the beginning. You had a pretty musical upbringing.
I did. I did. My grandpa sang in gospel quartets before I was ever born, and that song "Just One More Time" was about him. I grew up with him, always playing guitar, always singing, and teaching me how to play guitar, and so it always did a lot of. There was always a lot of singing around the house with him, but otherwise I was the only musical person in my family.
Oh.
My sister doesn't do music, my mom and dad don't do music, so it was a difficult to totally immerse myself in music because I didn't have anybody other than my grandpa and a couple of cousins occasionally to play with. So I was always the lead singer and I never learned how to sing harmony. Nobody ever taught me how to just pluck harmonies out of the air and sing them, and that's something I struggle with. But it just from the very early beginnings, I've always been involved with music.
Right, and you've had some wonderful opportunities musically. There was a picture of you with Reba McEntire. And,
yeah.
Tell us about some of the opening acts that you've got to be an opening act for some really big names. So
back in the early '90s, and there we see the Reba McEntire picture and a picture of me performing at a Riverfest like '92 or '93. Back in the early, I had the long hair, had the hat, all that kind of stuff, and that was in the early '90s. That was what I was doing. I was playing with bands and traveling around doing fairs and festivals. And special events and big things like that, and I never was the kind that wanted to play in the bars. I didn't like that. I did it because you have to, the old honky tonks, the smoky bars and places like that, but I wanted to do bigger things, and it was hard to find musicians who were willing to travel. A lot of musicians, as long as they make $20 and all the free beer they can drink, they're happy. And I wouldn't let my band members drink while we played, and so
that narrows the field.
So that narrowed the field down quite a bit as well. And I wanted to do the fairs and the festivals and things. So we did, we had the big lights, the big sound systems, the big hair, the big hats, and those kind of things. And after several years of that, it just kind of lost its luster for me, and I just kind of put everything away.
Right. Well, we were talking earlier about how the music scene has changed since then, and your personal preferences kind of changed, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back from break.
Okay.
We're going to take a short break and come back and hear more of Carl's original music and a pretty good honky-tonk song you do there at the end. But we'll be right back. Y'all, thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to Kelly's Acoustic Crossroads. I'm here with my guest, Carl Brady. Carl, we were just talking about how the music scene has changed a lot. It was all lights and flashing lights and big band stuff. And you mentioned earlier about how you were doing that in the 90s and it just had to be the big band. How has your preference for music changed a little bit lately?
As I've gotten older, the lights and the desire to be in front of 30,000 screaming people at a time it has just completely diminished, and I want to do what makes me happy. So my style, the things that I do, is not the old rockabilly, not the semi-rock and roll sounding country, but I've always had a passion and a love for really old-time country music, bluegrass music, those kind of things. So that's what I'm doing now. You know, just acoustic music, and things have changed over the last few years. Back in the 90s when I was playing, you couldn't get a job playing in a nightclub unless you had the whole big band, loud sound systems, all that stuff. And that local music culture has changed over the last few years to people are more accepting of just an acoustic solo act.
Yes, the singer-songwriters have,
exactly, that's a big thing right now. So now is a good time. That's what I enjoy doing, just sitting in the corner playing the piano, or just sitting in the corner playing a few acoustic songs on the guitar or something like that.
Speaking of piano, you mentioned earlier one of the reasons that you kind of rekindled the fire for music, and you were talking about you were struggling with blood pressure issues and just tell me a little bit about
that's a funny thing, you know. I don't have a stressful life as far as stress and drama and things like that, like a lot of people have, but I do have time stress. I work 12 and 15-hour days. I have so many responsibilities, and there's so much stuff going on. And for the last year or so, I've had some blood pressure issues and blood pressure problems. And I know, eating is one of the big deals, a part of that. But my doctors have had a difficult time getting my blood pressure medication correct so that it will just come down like that. And I had a few minutes one afternoon, and I have to check my blood pressure multiple times through the day. And I just sat down at my piano at home and played for 15 or 20 minutes, and then realized it was time to check my blood pressure. So I went and checked my blood pressure, and it was normal for the first time in a year.
Really?
And so I'm thinking that's maybe the music, music calms a savage beast. Maybe it calms blood pressure as well. Getting back to something I love like that, because I put it down for so long. I never got rid of my guitars. I never got rid of any of my instruments. They were all in a room at my house, and in a position of pride, because those are my my pride and joys.
Exactly.
And I would play for myself occasionally. But when I realized that, I thought, I really need to spend more time doing this.
Yeah, and sometimes getting away from it for a little bit makes you have this renewed appreciation for it. You mentioned your guitars, your pride and joy. There's an awesome guitar that you're playing on a couple of these songs. Tell me a little bit about the Gibson.
That is an incredible Gibson J45 from the best we can figure, talking to some guitar experts, is somewhere in the neighborhood of 1955 to 57.
Wow. Yeah, and it plays beautifully.
The most amazing playing guitar I have ever held in my hands.
Yeah.
And it's odd, and we're having a hard time dating it because the pick guard on it didn't come out to like 1957. But
so it's probably been replaced at some time.
It has not that we can tell. It hasn't been replaced, but handmade in the 50s. They would just pick up whatever was laying around on the line. He didn't have whoever was making the guitar didn't necessarily have the correct teardrop. Maybe they had run out of them that day, so he grabbed this one and put it on.
So
we never know, because the serial number shows about 1955, with the fact that it's got that pick guard on there. Questions of what year it is, but the really cool story we got this is my dad decided he wanted to learn how to play a guitar, and he saw an ad in the Gadsden Times years and years and years ago. I was probably about 10 years old, and it just said guitar for sale. So he goes, an older lady, she said, my husband died, I don't know what to do with his guitar. No case, no anything. She pulls it out from under a bed, covered in dust, strings are all rusty. Dad buys it from her for $30.
Wow.
Takes it to a local music store, and the guy said, before I touch it to clean it up, I will trade you any guitar in the store for this one.
That was
so
a sign you should
Dad
keep
never
it.
did learn how to play it, but he was smart enough to say, I think I'll keep this
Very
one.
good. And this is a song that you're playing this guitar on. People can see how cool this guitar really is.
absolutely.
Tell us, what's the name of this song you're going to do?
This one is called So I Won't Feel Your Pain. It doesn't have any specific meaning to it, but I thought it was a pretty good song when I wrote it. It just came to me one night at the house, and I sat down and put it together.
There you go. All right, well, here's Carl Brady with
So I Won't Feel Your Pain.
So I Won't Feel Your Pain. All right.
I don't want to have to hurt you, but I know I'm going to. I've just got to leave, even though we said I do. So I'll leave you while you're sleeping. Lord, I hate to go this way. I can't stand to see you cry another day. 'Cause if I see another teardrop, I'll go crazy. And if I hear another sob, I'll go insane. Girl, it's killing me to know that I'm the reason that you're hurting. So I'm leaving while you're sleeping, so I won't feel your pain. All the nights that I stayed out too late, I left you sitting alone. I never gave a second thought to the fact that you were alone. When I tried to make it up to you, I always made things worse. So I'm slipping out so I won't cause no more hurt. 'Cause if I see another teardrop, I'll go crazy. And if I hear another sob, I'll go insane. Girl, it's killing me to know that I'm the reason that you're hurting. So I'm leaving while you're sleeping, so I won't feel your pain. Girl, I just can't stand to see you cry if I tell you face to face. So I'm leaving while you're sleeping, so I won't feel your pain. So I'm leaving while you're sleeping, so I won't feel your pain.
Welcome back to Kelly's Acoustic Crossroads. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and thank you to Carl Brady, my
Thank
guest.
you. Thank
It's
you.
great to have you on this side of the camera for once.
It's a little different.
It is, yes, yes. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Y'all make sure you check out kacrossroads.com for more videos, and go by and thank our sponsors for us. Tell them you saw it here on KA Crossroads. We sure do appreciate them. We couldn't do the show without them. Right now we're going to let Carl end the show with a good old honky-tonk song.
Yeah, absolutely. It's called Sitting in an All-Night Cafe.
Sitting in an all-night cafe in a booth back in the corner, making paper whites from napkins, throwing toothpicks on the floor. I got a problem I can't solve, so I'm gonna sit here till I figure out the reason why my baby doesn't love me anymore. It can't be another woman, 'cause I've never looked at anyone as long as I've been knowing her, and that's a long, long time. I've had so many cups of coffee that you bet I'll get an ulcer, sitting in this all-night cafe with my baby on my mind. Sitting in an all-night cafe, listening to the jukebox playing, overheard the waitress saying, I wonder why he don't go home, 'cause my baby's out with someone, laughing, dancing, and romancing, and I'll bet she never thinks of me sitting here alone. Well, it can't be another woman, 'cause I've never looked at anyone as long as I've been knowing her, and that's a long, long time. I've had so many cups of coffee that you bet I'll get an ulcer, sitting in this all-night cafe with my baby on my mind. Sitting in this all-night cafe with my baby on my mind.